Growing up watching basketball in the NBA, I've noticed a few different roles that certain players play. You have bench warmers, six-man, role players, all-stars, superstars, but you have players who may ascend a superstar. You have players who are the face of the franchise, but then you have players who are the face of the league. You have players who are a part of a generation, and then you have players who change a generation. Kobe Bryant. LeBron James. My name is Legend of Winning, aka Low, and in today's video what I will be doing is breaking down both of these players' statistical feats, their accomplishments, their accolades, and everything else in between. And at the end of the video I will come up with the conclusion on which player is better. Hopefully you agree with me as well, but with all that being said, let's get right into the video. Raised in Philadelphia, an all-time Laker, Kobe Bryant is arguably the greatest player of the last era of basketball. His attention to details and lust for greatness is something that has attracted multiple people to his game. Throughout his 20-year career, he gave us multiple memories, establishing him being one of the greatest scorers of all time. And after the 2015-2016 season came to a conclusion, Kobe Bryant finally decided to call it quits after his 20-year career. Kobe Bryant is a 6'6" shooting guard that has spent his entire career playing for the Los Angeles Lakers. Kobe Bryant has consistently been listed at 215 throughout his career. However, just like all athletes, his weight has gone up and down. In his rookie season, multiple sources have stated that his weight is somewhere around 180 pounds. Obviously, as time progressed, he gained more weight, but the most he's ever been weighed at is 230. And obviously, as you get older, you want to slim down some. So after his 10th and 11th season, he decided to lose a bit more weight. Kobe Bryant is one of the more interesting specimens that the NBA has ever seen. For a wingspan that's nearly 7 feet long, for a player that's barely 6'6", pair that with the athleticism that Kobe Bryant has shown throughout his entire career is extremely impressive. For my younger viewers out there, you probably just know Kobe Bryant is the old guy, bald-headed, wears number 24. However, you do need to be updated on who Kobe Bryant was before 24 was put on his jersey. When Kobe Bryant was younger, wearing number 8, also known as Froby, Kobe Bryant was extremely athletic, could jump out of the gym, and even performed in a dunk contest. And as he got older, he still was able to sustain some leaping abilities. However, just being extremely athletic isn't enough to really put you in conversations of being one of the greatest players of all time. Kobe Bryant paired his athleticism with skill sets that put him over the top to his peers. Kobe Bryant is one of the greatest scorers the game has ever seen. He's efficient from almost every aspect of the court. Behind the arc, inside, great finisher around the lane, but he has made a career dominating in the mid-range. Everything from floaters, leaners, to fadeaways, especially out of the post. Kobe Bryant is one of the more efficient post players at the guard position. Also, on the other end, Kobe Bryant is a really great defender. I think a lot of people may forget this because, again, a lot of people just recognize him as an older player. However, when Kobe Bryant was in his prime, he was an elite defender. Great footwork, even better execution, and he had the athleticism to make sure he could catch up to certain players after a mistake was made on the fast break. However, outside of scoring, Kobe Bryant is still known for his mentality to the game. Having one of the highest basketball IQs the league has ever seen, pair that up with the mentality to be extremely clutch, and then you have the killer instinct that practically only compares to Michael Jordan. However, Kobe Bryant kinda gave a name to this killer instinct known as the Mamba mentality. Mamba mentality is a level of focus and concentration that Kobe Bryant enters to achieve the impossible. 81 points? Mamba. 62 points in 3 quarters? Mamba. 4 games straight scoring 50 plus points? Mamba mentality.
Kobe has 50! He's done it! 4 straight games, 50 or more points. Only the second player in NBA history to ever accomplish that.
However, the Mamba mentality goes beyond just statistical feats. Kobe Bryant has suffered some injuries throughout his career, and the only way he's been able to overcome those injuries is basically through Mamba mentality. With the skill set, strength, and Mamba mentality that Kobe Bryant has, he ends his career averaging 25 points, 5 rebounds, a little under 5 assists, a half block, 3 turnovers, shooting nearly 45% from the field, nearly 33% from 3. He finds himself 3rd on the list of total points scored in the NBA history, 14th when it comes to steals, and 29th when it comes to assists. Also, when you look at those numbers, keep in mind You know, those numbers do include the last 3 years of Kobe Bryant's career. Not trying to be biased, but just want to make sure we keep that understanding, because obviously Kobe Bryant, his efficiency did go down a bit because of the last 3 years of his career. However, looking at those numbers along with his strengths, it makes sense the type of accomplishments and statistical feats that Kobe Bryant did throughout his entire career. Kobe Bryant ended his career as a 5-time champion, a 2-time finals MVP, a 1-time regular season MVP. He made 18 all-star teams, 15 times was selected to an all-NBA team, 12 times was selected to an all-defensive team, and a whole bunch of other accolades that I just really don't have enough time to explain. And speaking of things that I just really don't have the time to explain to you all, the things that Kobe Bryant did throughout his career when it comes to scoring was just ridiculous, almost unbelievable. Kobe Bryant ended his career being the youngest player to 30,000 points. He was a part of a three-peat, which has very rarely happened through NBA history, even though the casual fan talks about it as if it happens almost every single season. However, the one thing I do want to go into detail about is the 05-06 season. Because in the 05-06 season, there was just way too many things for me to point out that Kobe Bryant accomplished. This year, Kobe Bryant scored 81 points against the Toronto Raptors. He put up 62 points against the Dallas Mavericks in 3 quarters. And this is the year that Kobe Bryant averaged 35 points for the entire year. The only other player that has been able to accomplish this in the modern era is Michael Jordan. However, the reason why I said the entire 05-06 season is because I don't think people thoroughly understand how many points Kobe scored that year. In a 3-month period, Kobe Bryant went on a tear that is almost unheard of. From the beginning of December 2005 to the end of February in 2006, Kobe Bryant posted up 1,486 points. Now I understand unless you sit behind a computer all day looking at basketball players' numbers, you probably don't understand how crazy that number is, but let me put some context to that. In the same season, Chauncey Billups posted up 1,495 points, Steve Nash 1,489 points, and Tim Duncan 1,485 points. However, it took them the entire season to accomplish that. Simply put, what Kobe Bryant did in a 3-month period, it takes some all-stars the entire season to accomplish. The amount of numbers that Kobe Bryant was posting up that year with a lack of talent surrounding him is almost criminal, to say the least. The fact that Kobe Bryant spent his prime seasons playing with poor to at best average players just is still something that I can't get over as a fan. But nevertheless, let's move on. Because even though Kobe Bryant has posted up crazy numbers and has gone unconscious from the field from time to time, he's not the perfect player. Kobe Bryant does have his weakness because, you know, he is human. When it comes to Kobe Bryant, he has consistently been labeled as a selfish player, taking multiple contested shots without passing them to wide open teammates to get a better look. Some people may make the argument that the reason why he takes these shots is simply because he can't trust his teammates. However, some people double down on the argument that he's extremely selfish, and the reason why he does this is because he wants all the glory and fame. Because how selfish he is on the court, that does lead to the next weakness that he has. Kobe Bryant takes bad shots from time to time. Well, I take that back. Kobe Bryant takes bad shots practically every game. It is very annoying to see him pull up for a contested jumper when there are multiple wide open players behind him or in front of him or right next to him. To better understand this, if Kobe Bryant just took one less shot, or if Kobe Bryant made a better decision or shot selection throughout his games, throughout his entire career, instead of shooting 44 to 45%, he would actually be shooting 50% from the field. However, even with his selfish play and his weaknesses and his bad shot selection, Kobe Bryant is one of the greatest players the NBA has ever seen. Offensively, he is fundamentally one of the most complete players we have ever seen in the league. And if you match that with a killer instinct along with Mamba mentality, you can literally make a highlight reel of how clutch he has been over his entire career. So to some degree, it is fairly understandable to why so many fans of Kobe Bryant believes that he is the greatest player of all time. Hailing from Akron, Ohio, LeBron James, aka King James, is one of the greatest well-rounded players the NBA has ever seen. The fact that somebody at that height and that size is able to do what he does consistently on the court is rather impressive. And he has been able to display this level of excellence throughout his entire career. LeBron James is a 6'8" small forward, but also played power forward and a little bit of shooting guard. Heck, he can really play any position if he really wants to, and is listed at 250 pounds. However, even I must admit that weight is a bit ambiguous. Throughout LeBron James' career, just like any other athlete, his weight has gone up and down. When he first entered the NBA, he weighed in roughly around 230 pounds. However, from that moment on, it's just been all over the place. The most that he's ever been listed at is 262 pounds. Also, he has a wingspan that is measured roughly above 7 feet long and a hand length that is 9 inches. Also, LeBron has played for 2 teams throughout his career. He played 4 years in Miami, but obviously he has spent majority of his career with his hometown in Cleveland. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and just say LeBron James is by far the most interesting, fascinating specimen the NBA has ever seen. The fact that LeBron is 6'8", 250 at least, and hasn't suffered any major injuries is a miracle in and of itself. Now, if you think that was crazy, LeBron James paired his physical assets along with skill sets that made him practically impossible to guard. LeBron James is one of the greatest finishers around the rim the game has ever seen. Because of his height, size, and his abilities to dribble the ball, LeBron gets into the lane fairly easily. Also, LeBron James is a great passer for his size and position, having seasons and performances where he's putting up assist numbers that could rival some of the greatest point guards of all time. Also, when it comes to LeBron, he has added some post moves in his arsenal as he's gotten older. And when it comes to the defensive end, LeBron James is so flexible that he could practically guard almost any position. However, the biggest asset that LeBron brings to the court is his ability to make his teammates better. At this point in LeBron's career, he has practically spent half of his time in the NBA on a mediocre team. But for whatever reason, this mediocre team in his earlier years in Cleveland still found themselves in the playoffs quite consistently. Actually, one year they made it all the way to the finals. Now, if you go back and you really study those teams, they should never been anywhere near close making it to the finals. However, because LeBron is so great at what he does, he makes his teammates better, facilitating, holding them to a certain standard, helping them out defensively, and of course, continuously pushing them throughout their lows. And if all else fails, then LeBron can just put the entire team on his back. No, scratch that. He can put the entire city of Cleveland on his back and go as far as he can carry them. LeBron James has done this numerous times, regardless if it was early in his career or just a few years ago when he was in the finals without Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. I mean, for goodness sake, LeBron James made Matthew Dellavedova look like Mookie Blaylock the way that he was locking down Stephen Curry from time to time. As of right now in his career, LeBron averages 27 points, 7 rebounds, almost 7 assists, 2 steals, shooting almost 50% from the field and 34% from 3. When it comes to total points, LeBron finds himself 10th on the list, just over 27,000 points. And when it comes to total assists, he finds himself 16th on that list, just below 7,000. LeBron could potentially end his career being top 100 in all 5 major statistical categories, something that has rarely happened in NBA history. LeBron is a 3-time champion, a 3-time Finals MVP, a 4-time regular season MVP, a 12-time All-Star. He was selected to 12 All-NBA teams, 6 All-Defensive teams, Rookie of the Year, and a whole bunch of other accomplishments that literally would make this video 30 minutes long if I continue to go into it. And on top of this, LeBron James has been able to accomplish things that seem nearly impossible. Now again, I'm not going to go into that much detail about everything he's been able to accomplish. However, in my opinion, his greatest feat that he's been able to accomplish isn't the 2016 NBA Finals. Also, going to the finals 7 times in a 13-year career, 6 of which were consecutive, and the other one was back in 2007 when he completely destroyed the Detroit Pistons single-handedly to make sure that he made it to the finals. And again, saying this out loud is just extremely impressive. Me personally, the reason why LeBron is one of the greatest players of all time is because he was great from a young age. I think a lot of people overlook this, and let me just reiterate what I mean by this. LeBron entered the NBA at the age of 18. Now, let me, give you some details and show you how crazy that is. LeBron graduated high school somewhere around April or May. From there, he tried out for professional teams. Then he got drafted first overall. And then a few months after that, he played his first game in the NBA. That game against the Sacramento Kings, a team that went on to win 55 games that season, put up 25 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds in his NBA debut. Again, at the age of 18, people. Now let that settle in a little bit because I'm about to blow your mind again. LeBron continued his rookie campaign that year, posting right under 21 points, 5.5 rebounds, nearly 6 assists, a little bit above a steal and a half, almost a block, shooting a little bit below 42% from the field and under 30% from 3. Those are numbers that some veterans in the NBA today would love to have, such as Nicholas Batum. Yep, that's right. I just threw a shot at Nicholas Batum. because he is killing me in fantasy right now. 38% Nicholas Batum. That's what you're shooting from the field? Anyway, the reason why I bring this up is because if you compare LeBron to his first year to his second year, that's where everything gets completely out of control. Because in his second year, LeBron went from 21 points to 27 points, 5.5 rebounds to almost 7.5 rebounds, 6 assists to 7 assists, a steal and a half to 2 steals, shooting 41 to 42% to 47%, and shooting under 30% from 3 to 35. LeBron nearly improved in every statistical category. And again, his first 2 seasons, majority of which he spent as a teenager. Even with all that being said, LeBron does have his faults and his flaws. The biggest one that comes to mind is his lack of a killer instinct. Mentally, LeBron has been criticized over and over again throughout his entire career. And after the 2011 NBA Finals, LeBron actually gave some credibility to his critics, falling short of an NBA title, even though LeBron was favored to win that championship. Since that meltdown, it does seem like LeBron has become a tad bit tougher when it comes to his mental game. However, that is something that you just cannot overlook when it comes to the career of LeBron James. Also, another thing that comes to mind when it comes to the flaw of LeBron James is his lack of a consistent shot. Last year, LeBron was historically one of the worst three-point shooters the game has ever seen, and this has been a problem throughout his entire career, having multiple seasons where he is struggling to shoot 33% or higher behind the arc. However, if you still don't believe me, just look at LeBron James' free throw percentage. There's one thing that you cannot escape if you are a poor shooter, and that is the free throw line. LeBron has never been able to shoot over 80% from the free throw line, which is a bit concerning. His free throw percentage more so resembles a power forward or a center more so than a small forward or a shooting guard, which is something that is rather concerning about LeBron. But even with all that being said, LeBron James is one of the more well-rounded players the NBA has ever seen. And because of this, it makes sense why so many people are so quick to come to the conclusion that LeBron is one of, if not the greatest of all time. However, some other fans may have a different opinion. Now that you're familiar with each candidate, it's time to compare all their abilities and hopefully come up with a winner. The rating process is fairly simple. Each candidate will be judged on 7 different aspects of the game of basketball, and each aspect will be rated on a scale between 1 through 5. At the end, we'll tally up all the numbers, and whoever has the most amount of numbers obviously wins it all. First thing is athleticism. And when it comes to athleticism, both of these players are arguably some of the most athletic players the game has ever seen. When it comes to LeBron James, I think it's fairly obvious. 6'8", 250 pounds, or possibly more. The fact that he has a body frame that resembles Karl Malone, however he's still cat quick as some point guards or shooting guards in the NBA, is just remarkable. And what's even more impressive is that he has never suffered from any major injuries so far in his career. So obviously LeBron James gets a 5. And when it comes to Kobe Bryant, he may not stand at the same stature as LeBron, 6'6", 215 pounds. However, what Kobe Bryant has done throughout his entire career, especially when it comes to his endurance, is quite remarkable as well. However, if you still disagree with what I'm about to say, just always remember Kobe Bryant in his last game put up 60 points. That is the definition of endurance, stamina, and athleticism. So because of this, I'm going to give Kobe Bryant a 5. Now when it comes to scoring, it's a tad bit different. See, Kobe Bryant is one of the most well-rounded, fundamentally sound offensive players the game has ever seen. He literally is lethal from almost everywhere on the court. Scratch that, he is lethal from everywhere on the court. So because of this, we're going to give Kobe Bryant a 5. And on the other hand, we have LeBron James. Now LeBron is also a very well-talented scoring player. At this point in time in his career, the number that he's been able to post up consistently is rather impressive. If you go back and you look through his career, you might be surprised that he's never averaged less than 20 points per game. And actually, outside of his first year in the NBA, he's consistently averaged at least 25 or more points. However, when it comes to the all-around scoring ability that LeBron displays on the court, it does fall a bit short from time to time. LeBron has struggled consistently throughout his career behind the arc, and LeBron really just doesn't have any game whatsoever when it comes to the mid-range shot. However, even though LeBron James has very noticeable limitations when it comes to scoring, he still finds himself at the rack scoring rather consistently. So because of this, I'm gonna give him a 4. Now, when it comes to passing, I think it's fairly obvious LeBron James is a 5 out of 5. At the small forward position, LeBron James has put up assist numbers that could potentially rival some of the greatest point guards of all time. And on the other hand, you have Kobe Bryant. Now look, me personally, I do believe that Kobe Bryant does get a lot of flack when it comes to passing. He is actually a pretty solid passer if you look at the games that he plays. Even though a lot of people may criticize Kobe Bryant for his lack of assist numbers, people need to recognize that you're not going to really get that many assists playing in a triangle offense just because that's how the offense is organized. But even with all of that being said, even I can't overlook the fact that Kobe Bryant is a bit selfish, and his lack of decision making does hinder him in the passing category. So because of this, I'm going to give him a 3.5. Now when it comes to rebounding, Kobe Bryant, I believe he is rather underrated when it comes to his rebounding abilities, having some seasons where he's averaging over 1.5 offensive boards, which is rather impressive for his position. However, at Kobe Bryant's position, there have been other great shooting guards who have better rebounding numbers and better rebounding performances. So because of this, I'm going to give Kobe a 4. And then on the other hand, you have LeBron James. And when it comes to rebounding, what more can you say? And like I stated over and over again in this video, his body mass and his stature resembles a power forward, so it's that much more easier for him to crash the boards. So because of this, I'm going to give LeBron a 5 when it comes to rebounding. Now when it comes to defense, both of these players are great defensive players. LeBron James is arguably the most flexible defensive player we've ever seen in the NBA, literally being able to guard 1 through 4, and depending on the matchup might be able to pick up a center from time to time. So because of this, I'm going to give him a 5. And then on the other hand, you have Kobe Bryant. Now even though Kobe Bryant, like I stated before, doesn't have the same frame or body mass of LeBron, at the shooting guard position, Kobe Bryant has multiple seasons where he played at an elite level on the defensive end. Now with all that being said though, Kobe Bryant's last few years in the NBA, defensively, really wasn't all that impressive. And I'm talking about before the Achilles tear. Kobe on the defensive end used to wander around a lot and play passing lanes and play help. And actually, after the age of 30, Kobe Bryant was never really given the responsibility to guard the best offensive perimeter player on the other team because he had teammates such as Trevor Ariza and Ron Artest. However, Kobe Bryant is still one of the greatest defensive shooting guards the game has ever seen, so because of this, we're going to give him a 4.5. Next up is intangibles. Now this right here might throw a few people off, but please let me explain. When it comes to Kobe Bryant, I think we all understand the Mamba mentality is in full effect. His intensity to the game really polarized who he was as a player, and I think that's the reason why a lot of us fell in love with Kobe Bryant. However, there is one thing about Kobe Bryant when it comes to his intangibles, along with the intensity and the quote-unquote Mamba mentality. From time to time, Kobe Bryant gets caught up in trying to prove things that just don't need to be proven. Kobe has multiple games throughout his NBA career where he practically put his team at risk of losing a game because he got a bit out of control. Actually, there's a lot of incidents where they just lost the game because Kobe decided he wanted to take over and took a lot of bad shots and had poor decision making down the stretch. So because of that, I will give Kobe Bryant a 4.5. And then on the other hand, you have LeBron James. And I feel like LeBron gets a lot of criticism for his lack of scoring from time to time, which I don't understand because the way that LeBron is able to affect the game that doesn't show up in the box score is by him making his teammates better. Again, LeBron James has been able to carry terrible teams way farther than I think a lot of us anticipated. However, when it comes to his mentality to the game, I must admit there have been multiple incidents throughout his career where he has shrunk quite a bit. LeBron's lack of having a killer instinct has hurt him consistently throughout his career, especially early on. And on top of that, the one thing that you have to highlight is a 2011 Dallas series where LeBron James just consistently fell short every single fourth quarter, even when they had the lead. So because of this, I have to give LeBron a 4 under intangibles. And finally, we have accolades. Both of these players are one of the more decorated players the NBA has ever seen. However, when it comes to LeBron James, his accolades do seem like they do reach a bit further than Kobe Bryant's. For example, LeBron James has a Rookie of the Year, he has more MVPs, and his career is still going on, so there's a very, very likelihood that he's probably going to end his career with more NBA championships. However, when it comes to LeBron, he's not perfect because he did lose in the 2011 NBA Finals, so because of this, I'm going to give him a 4.5. And on the other hand, you have Kobe Bryant, who is extremely decorated when it comes to his accolade. 5 championships is extremely impressive and it's not nothing to overlook, and I do believe Kobe Bryant should have received much more than just 1 MVP. However, Kobe Bryant entering the NBA just was nowhere near as great as he probably should have been, especially compared to other peers heading out of high school such as Kevin Garnett and LeBron James, which is why he didn't win Rookie of the Year. And even though people don't want to admit this, Kobe Bryant was a pretty big reason why the Los Angeles Lakers lost to the Detroit Pistons back in the NBA Finals. But like I stated earlier, still his career is decorated with multiple accomplishments, accolades, and awards. So because of this, I'm going to give Kobe a 4. Now before I crown LeBron James as a winner in this versus video, let me be clear about a few things because I already know people are going to have a lot of questions in the comment section below. Look, I understand Kobe Bryant, his killer instinct and his scoring abilities really puts him above a lot of other players. And to some extent, I actually agree with what you're saying. What Kobe Bryant brings to the floor offensively, especially his scoring abilities, paired up with other teammates, is a very deadly force. But again, notice I said paired up with other teammates. As an individual though, Kobe Bryant just isn't that well-rounded as a player. Again, he is a very good passer, especially for what he's able to do offensively in his scoring abilities, and when it comes to rebounding, he is a really solid rebounder for his position. However, there are multiple players in NBA history who score just as great as Kobe Bryant. However, they rebound better, they pass better, and they're better defenders as well. And one of those players is LeBron James. And yes, I understand LeBron James, he does struggle from the field from time to time. And I do understand a lot of people want to sit here and tell me that LeBron cries too much or he doesn't have that killer mentality, so it doesn't really matter what he's able to do. However, I'd much rather have LeBron James, a player who might score 5 to 7 less points than Kobe, however has a better field goal percentage, is going to be a better rebounder, better facilitator, and is going to be able to defend multiple positions at any given time. So because of all of that, King James is crowned as a winner in this versus.